Hi, this video is looking at momentum. Momentum is a property of moving objects. It is dependent on both the mass and the velocity of an object, whereby the greater each of these values, the more momentum an object has. Momentum is a vector quantity, meaning that it has a size and a direction. We can work out the momentum of an object by using the following formula. The formula is P equals m times v. P in this formula is momentum, and we measure this in kilogram meters per second. M is the mass of the object, and this is measured in kilograms. And finally, V is velocity, and this is measured in meters per second. So let's have an example. Suppose that we have a car that has a mass of 2,900 kilograms, and it is travelling at a speed of 30 meters per second in a rightwards direction. What is the car's momentum? The question gives us all of the information that we required. We're going to be using the formula that we've just gone through, which is P equals m times v. M is the car's mass, and this is 2,900 kilograms. V is the car's velocity, and this is given as 30 meters per second. So in order to work out the car's momentum, we do 2,900 times 30. This gives us a value of momentum of 87,000 kilogram meters per second. The momentum of the car is in a rightwards direction, and we know this because the car is travelling in a rightwards direction. We're now going to have a look at momentum in a closed system. A closed system means that there are no external forces. An example of an external force would be friction or air resistance. In a closed system, the total momentum before the event is equal to the total momentum after the event. This is called the conservation of momentum. There are two types of cases that we can have for momentum in a closed system. These are collisions and explosions. Collisions are where there are two objects moving together. Explosions are where there are two objects moving in opposite directions. We're first going to have a look at a collision example. With a collision, we have two objects that are moving towards each other. So let's suppose that we have two rollerbladers that are approaching each other. John is approaching from the right with a speed of 2.5 meters per second. Emily is approaching from the left with a speed of 1.5 meters per second. John has a mass of 70 kilograms and Emily has a mass of 60 kilograms. What is the momentum after the collision? First, we need to decide what direction is positive. In this example, I will say that the positive direction is towards the right. John is already travelling towards the right, so his speed of 2.5 meters per second is positive. Emily is currently travelling at a speed of 1.5 meters per second towards the left, but we want to find out what her speed is in a rightwards direction. We do this by timesing her speed in a leftwards direction by -1, and this gives us a value of minus 1.5 meters per second in a rightwards direction. The reason why we times her speed by -1 is because the leftwards direction is the opposite direction to rightwards. The next step is to work out the total momentum before the collision. This is worked out by adding the momentum of John and Emily. So we have the total momentum before, which we're going to denote as PB, and this is equal to the momentum of John, which is PJ, plus the momentum of Emily, which is PE. So PB is equal to PJ plus PE. To work out PJ, we do the mass of John times John's velocity. So we do 70 times 2.5. Similarly, to work out the momentum of Emily, we do the mass of Emily times the velocity of Emily. So we do 60 times minus 1.5. We need to be very careful here to make sure that we are putting minus 1.5 as Emily's velocity. If we put plus 1.5, then our answer would be completely wrong. This gives us a value for momentum of 85 kilogram meters per second. We know that this value is going to be equal to the total momentum after the collision. The total momentum after the collision is the overall masses, which is the sum of John and Emily's masses, multiplied by their velocity. So we denote this as a PA, which is the momentum after collision, equals, open brackets, the mass of John, which is mj, plus the mass of Emily, which is me, and then we times all of this by the velocity. So we get PA is equal to 70 plus 60 times velocity. So PA is equal to 130 V. Because of the conservation of momentum, we know that PA must equal PB. We found PA to equal 85 kilogram meters per second. So by subbing 85 in for PA, we get 130 V is equal to 85. We divide both sides by 130, and this gives us a value for V of 0.65 meters per second. This value is positive, and this tells us that after the collision, both rollerbladers moved to the right with a speed of 0.65 meters per second. If the value for V was negative rather than positive, it would mean that our rollerbladers would be moving towards the left, which is the opposite direction to the direction of travel that we were taking. We were taking our overall travel towards the right, so a positive value means that we're going in a rightwards direction. A negative value would mean that we're moving in a leftwards direction. The other case is an explosion. An explosion is where the two objects are moving in opposite directions. An example would be a gun firing a bullet. Let's suppose that a gun fires a bullet at a speed of 100 meters per second. We want to find what speed will the gun recoil at. The bullet has a mass of 0.01 kilograms, and the gun has a mass of 0.5 kilograms. Here we have a diagram of the gun, and the gun is going to shoot the bullet out in a rightwards direction. Before the gun was fired, the total momentum was 0 kilogram meters per second. Thus, the momentum after the explosion will be 0, and this is because of the law of conservation of momentum. Here we have an equation for the total momentum after the explosion. This is going to equal the momentum of the bullet, which is PB, plus the momentum of the gun. We work out the momentum of the bullet by doing the bullet's mass times its velocity. The bullet's mass is 0.01 kilograms, and its velocity is 100. So we do 0.01 times 100, and this gives us a value of 1. To work out the momentum of the gun, we do the gun's weight times its velocity. The gun's weight is 0.5 kilograms, and its velocity is what we're trying to find out. This tells us that the momentum of the gun will be 0.5 V. Because of the conservation of momentum, we know that PA is going to be equal to 0. This tells us that the equation can be written as 0 equals 1 plus 0.5 V. If we take 1 from both sides, it gives us the equation 0.5 V is equal to minus 1. And then if we divide by 0.5, it tells us that V is going to be equal to minus 2 meters per second. This tells us that the gun moves towards the left at a speed of 2 meters per second. It moves towards the left because the value of V is negative. This brings us to the end of this video. For more content, quizzes and past papers, go on to www.elevise.co.uk.